in the host, including swipe sensors, and we also are supporting Windows CE devices, and Windows mobility devices, as well as everything from thin clients to Linux clients to everything else. So it doesn't have to be a PC, it doesn't have to be a special device. If a customer wants to have something, what we call some of the cheesy laptop security PCs, sensors, which really aren't very secure, but if that's what they want to do, and they want to do a custom build that supports those, we'll do that. We won't endorse it, but we'll do it. But we've got a host that can support 7 or 8 different matchers, 10 different matchers at the same time. It knows which device it's coming from, so it sends the signal to the appropriate matcher. So we can do retinal scan if we wanted to, but we just haven't had a call. So it can support pretty much any device. Yes, sir. No, you're the sir. I'm sorry.
I'll repeat the question if need be.
You're talking about devices, but the biggest problem that most people have is not the device. It's the 10,000 software programs or sites that they have on the internet that all require passwords.
Exactly, and that is exactly why, I'm sorry, and if I didn't communicate that well, that's my apologies. That is the core of protecting the legacy investment in the tens of thousands of applications that are out there is the core. VSSA includes a application integration kit, a SDK with little V-secure modules, little code modules, compiled code modules that attach to everything, every WebSphere, COBOL, C++, whatever your Domino, whatever you're running your applications on, whatever platform, operating environment, whatever operating system or platform they're running on. These little modules go into your existing codes, your existing applications. It takes literally minutes to do, depending on how complex you want to do it. You can build rules around it if you wish. You can buy programs. There are several programs now. There's a new clinical trials program that just came out that has VSSA embedded in it. And that's, we think, is more of the trend, because by ourselves, we're a tool for authentication. We're not this, we can become the holistic solution if the IT department wants to deploy it that way, or we can work for a single solution, or we can work just for logons or for a website or for something like that, PHP site, and we can extend from there. The neat part is that as you extend, you don't have people re-enroll, you don't have people use different devices, you don't have different trainings, you don't have different protocols, and you have one central, highly accountable data store of every authentication incident that you can then use for compliance and reporting.
And these are already built into the websites? They just need to be turned on, or they?
Well, they can be. I mean, for instance, the International Bank of Miami is an example down here that has the, they have websites enabled, but they haven't deployed. So it's a matter of you turn it on for the customer.
Yeah, I had 2 questions. I think you answered my first one about the clinical trials application. So you already have a system in place for authentication?
Well, there's a company called Interpec that makes clinical trial software and pharmaceutical software. They're based in France and New Jersey. I get them confused, but I think both. And then they actually have just launched Patrick Townsend and Associates has a bunch of security suite software that runs on various different IBM and non-IBM platforms. That has VSSA integrated into it. Innovatum has DataThread, which is a transaction monitoring and compliance program that has Visa built into it. We're really just going to market, so it's very exciting to see these guys integrate, but you know, some people do it ad hoc. New Orleans Police Department did it themselves, and they wanted to do their own thing. So it really is up to whoever wants to do it the way they want to do it, or they can just buy a package and then they also get the kit and they can extend.
So we could, if you wanted to, you could design your own system and integrate that technology.
Or you can take your existing system and just put it on. If you have a website now that says just for login, I want to enable logons, well, gee, that's probably a good 2 hours worth of work for your IT department.
The other question I had was how does it compare to retinal imaging?
Well, then we get into the technology, the biometric technologies, and that's right now there are there's identification and authentication, and we're talking authentication because there is no identification process that can be done in real time with any sorts of sense of reliability. A transaction on this can take 2 or 3 milliseconds, literally, which is all that a consumer will stand for, maybe 100 milliseconds. If you try to identify, you're going to be talking anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes to all day with a lower level of reliability. So it's authentication. Not identification. And the retinal scan is the same way. We can incorporate retina, but the price of the input devices is very high, and there is a lot more consumer resistance to having a laser shot at their eye than there is putting their finger on a sensor. So if somebody wants it, though, we can adopt it. We have to pay for it.
Okay. We'll move on to Dr. Agarwal. Dr. Agarwal is trained at Harvard. He's brought a team of able-bodied scientists and clinicians down with him. They've set up shop at Broward, so Dr. Agarwal, tell us what you're doing there.
Great, thank you. I'd like to thank Jane and EDC for extending this invitation to us and to me to speak on behalf of HealX Oncology, and thank you for your time. I love the topic of this panel discussion, impact of new technologies and on diagnostics and therapeutics. When Jane first approached me on this, I said, this is right up our alley. So I'm the CEO of HealX Oncology and Chief of Radiation Oncology at Broward Health. Broward Health is a large community-based healthcare system that encompasses the northern two-thirds of Broward County. It's the fifth largest IDN, integrated delivery network in the country, and they have phenomenal resources and a phenomenal reach as far as demographics and patient base in South Florida. So, in a nutshell, what we're doing with HealX Oncology is we've partnered with Broward Health to provide a cutting-edge academic radiation oncology solution. So we believe we're bringing world-class radiation oncology care to the South Florida community. Having grown up down here in South Florida, that's very important to me on a personal note. So we want essentially to bring academic medicine with respect to radiation oncology, cancer treatment options directly into the community care setting. And what that means is that often people with resources are able to travel anywhere in the country. They're diagnosed with cancer, and some people, the first thing they do is they get on a plane and they fly out of South Florida, unfortunately. So there's a real dichotomy in healthcare between the haves and have-nots. And to our mind, there's no reason, at least under the radiation oncology umbrella, that we can't bring the same resources that would be available to any of you, whether you're a CEO of a large corporation or whether you're a janitor at the Broward Mall. We see no reason why we can't bring the top resources and treatment options that would be available to you if you were to get on a jet and fly to Mass General. We are bringing those down to Florida within the Broward healthcare system. So what does that entail? From a technology perspective, as far as the impact of technologies and the impact of radiation oncology technology in our community, is we're bringing cutting-edge linear accelerators, which are the workhorse to treat cancer patients. It's a large machine. It basically delivers X-rays in a very sophisticated fashion. We're bringing what's called a stereotactic radiosurgery program. This is a very advanced unit called CyberKnife, and what this does is it delivers very high doses of radiation to tumors. Sometimes this is very useful for people who can't get operated on because they have other competing illnesses. They just wouldn't probably make it through a large surgical procedure.